This week on Supercars Torque, Tim Blanchard goes Gen 3 testing, and we've got some sexy new looks from Dick Johnson Racing and the Groves. Tim Blanchard, officially the first person to drive a proper Gen 3 Mustang. Well, any Gen 3 car actually. They were the first team to go and shake down their car, which kind of turned into a proper test day now because of the change in the rules where they're allowed to go and do as many Ks as they wanted to on the shakedown day. They actually made the day, 1st of February, that they were supposed to. That was booked in as the first test. Well, that was the delayed time for the first test for the southern teams. None of the northern teams made their, I think it was the 30th of January they were supposed to make. But anyway, Blanchards got out there first. They got the advantage. The little team that could. Obviously, the joke there, Tim Blanchard went and did the first. He did an installation lap in the car and came back in. And then Todd Hazelwood drove it for the rest of the day. But yeah, just a bit significant there for Tim Blanchard, the team's first new car. He got to have the first lap in it. They're going to go out testing today. As you watch this on Tuesday, there's a few other teams that will be out testing. It looks like Dick Johnson Racing and Matt Stone Racing will be up at Queensland Raceway, while Blanchards will be at Winton on today, Tuesday, testing their cars. Tickford have announced they will be going out on Wednesday at Winton with one car for Cam Waters. Pretty smart from them doing that, because that means the other three get to stay at home. And now, because of these relaxed shakedown rules, and you don't actually have to go and test. Previously with the testing rules, if you had a 4-car team and you only took 2 cars to that test, that didn't matter. That was a test day for you. You didn't get to go and test the other 2 cars separately. At the moment with Gen 3, if you turn up just with Cam Waters' car, you can then go and spread if you want, you can spread the other 3 out over 3 days. So pretty smart by them. Even like with the shakedown rules, you could go and do it separately, but pretty smart by them. Finish off one car, go shake it down or whatever. If anything crops up, you've still then got the shakedowns for the other 3 cars where you can go and test some other stuff. And I don't think there's anything saying Cam Waters can't jump in James Courtney's car or Declan Fraser's car or Thomas Randall's car on the shakedown days either. So if they do make a change, he can go and shake down one of the other cars and see, if it's better or worse or whatever. So a bit of a smart move there by Tickford. And no other teams have expressed when they're actually going to go out and test these cars or shake them down. But yeah, from going off the Instabook and things like that, everyone's getting pretty close to having their cars running. Now, we actually had some liveries released this week. Obviously, the Blanchard one, more of the same. Dick Johnson Racing, more of the same. Penrite Racing, more of the same. No significant sponsor changes for these groups. We did see a lot more white on the Grove car and a lot more yellow on the Dick Johnson car. By a lot more, there was a little bit more. Are these improvements, these liveries? I'm sure they'll grow on me and watching the cars on the track. At the moment, I think they'd kind of tweaked on the previous Mustang. I'm still just, getting used to the look of the new Mustang. I'm so used to the previous one, and I think they'd kind of tweaked the liveries on those over the last couple of years to get them kind of just right. Whereas, the new ones, nothing has... It is kind of the old livery on a new car with these 3 so far. So nothing's really grabbed me. It will be interesting. These guys are, serial offenders with not changing livery each year. Will be interesting to see what happens. Now, Triple Eight also, they had a Camaro running around at the 12 hour over the weekend while the Red Bull Formula 1 car was doing its laps. Shane Gisbergen did a couple of demo laps in the Camaro. Not sure which car that was and whether that was a shakedown or what was going on there. A bit of free testing. I'll wait for Barry Ryan's opinion on that one. But they had that more matte blue Red Bull Formula One kind of livery on the car. I really liked that. So, yeah, he's hoping that Triple Eight go down that route rather than the more kind of polished, glossy Red Bull look that they've had the last few years. And what should have been the headline news for this week, Tim Slade will be running number 23 this year. Peter Zibris has said, you know, that he let Jimmy pick his number when he came into the team last year. He's done the same thing with Tim Slade this year. Go and pick your... What number would you prefer? The 23 means a little bit to Tim because that was the number he ran back in his Slade speed days all the way back in, was 2008 when he ran his own team in the Super 2 series. So, yeah, he chose that one, which hasn't been used for the last few years. Nissan ran it for a few years because of the whole Nissan thing. When you look it up in Japanese, I think... 2 is Ni and 3 is San, so Nissan 23. And then obviously 23 Red ran it for a couple of years there before they pulled the pin due to that COVID virus thing that was kicking around at the time. Now for some Super 2 news. A lot has been happening for a category that is dying and, you know, nothing will happen with it this year. Yeah, a lot of new, probably more news from the Super 2 guys recently. I suppose, yeah, the main game, they've just been building the Gen 3 cars. So Super 2, a little bit's been happening. Matt White Motorsport has bought one of the Tickford Gen 2 Mustangs to run in for Super 2 this year, most likely for Tyler Everingham. They haven't actually announced anything, but they've been running Altimas for the last few years, which go down to Super 3 this year. So they hasn't really been announced what they're doing with those at the moment, whether they're going to be running them. I have heard, I think one or two of them have been sold off to other people for Super 3. But yeah, great to see that Matt White Motorsport will be continuing in Super 2, even if it is just the one car. And Erebus going to be in Super 2 this year. They're going to field a ZB Commodore, the wildcard one from last year, for Jack Perkins with Shaw and Partners on the side of the car. Apparently they were very happy with what Jack did for them at Sandown in his solo Super 2 round last year. They're going to go full tilt at the championship. Yeah, it's been a long time since Jack had a proper run in the Super 2. I wonder if that's the longest time between drinks for people running the full championship. Anyway, that pretty much cements that Jack's going to be around co-driving with Will Brown at Bathurst. So I wonder who's going to get the other co-driver gig out of Dave Russell and Chris Pither. There, I would have thought Dave Russell was a shoo-in, so maybe Chris Pither and his Coke money isn't so certain to get that co-driver gig there at Erebus for Bathurst. In other car news, Matt Charter will be running an ex-BJR ZB Commodore this year, and this is a good one. It's the one that Jack Smith has been running around the back of the field in. Yeah, all jokes aside, it's another Super 2 car in the field. This car was actually, it wasn't that bad until Jack Smith got it. It was a Jason Bright car and Nick Percat as well, who both of them actually got some results out of that car previously. It just, yeah, had I suppose, a bit of an unfortunate time over the last 3 years with Jack Smith running around in it. And we also got to see the Brad Vaughan and Emily Morrow Tickford liveries on their Mustangs for Super 2. Their liveries, definitely the Emily Morrow one, the better one, but it's probably also easier when you haven't got a heap of conflicting sponsor colours to mash together. Yeah, the Brad Vaughan one, a typical kind of Tickford thing there where there's a heap of colours mashed together, but at least there's a lot of sponsorship on that car, unlike the other one in the stable. Now, the last bit of news this week, the timetable came out for the Formula 1 Grand Prix at Albert Park, which obviously includes the Supercars timetable. Now, deep breath here. Supercars will be having one race each day. So that is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will each have a race. 2 qualifying sessions on the Thursday for the Thursday race and the Friday race, and then 2 qualifyings on Saturday for the Saturday and the Sunday race. Yeah, I can see why they're doing it, because of F2 and F3 will be there this year. So Supercars kind of becomes the 4th rung down the peg. It does give something for the fans who do turn up on the Thursday, but it really stretches that weekend out. I'd nearly prefer to see something where they could maybe have, practice and that on Thursday. If you need have the qualifying sessions on the Thursday as well, there may be 2 reasonable sprint kind of races on the Friday, and then a proper feature race on Saturday. Even if it's, after F1 qualifying, they go out there and have, proper hour and a half or something like that, like a proper race around the track, and then not partake on Sunday. Like, that's all for, F3 and then F2 have their feature races, and then Formula 1, and just have that Sunday a big open wheeler day. It's not going to affect ticket sales for the Sunday because people are turning up on the Sunday to see the Formula 1. Then it makes, Friday and Saturday a bit more special with a bit more of a structure for the supercars. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I would like to see them have one big proper race at Albert Park, because it all seems the races are scheduled for like 25 minutes each, which, it doesn't, 4 short races, it just doesn't seem enough for what is Australia's premier category. But yeah, that's my opinion, my humble opinion. Down in the comments, let me know, do you agree, or do you think it's great that the supercars will be racing all 4 days at the Grand Prix? And what do you think of the liveries so far? Have they excited you, or are you a bit underwhelmed like me? But I was pretty much expecting that from these 3. I am expecting, 888 and Walkinshaws. They'll spring a couple of surprises. Premier, who's going to be sponsoring them? Obviously, the Erebus Coke deal. How good those Camaros are going to look like. So yeah, they're the ones that I'm getting excited about. I wasn't expecting massive changes. Penrite's always looked the same all the way through, and yeah, Cool Drive and Shell, they've just carried over for years and years and years now. So that's it for me this week. Don't forget, I'm still Dave, and I'll catch you later.